Hello, hopefully you're having a great day. So today on deck we have the HP EliteBook 8470W, and we're gonna do a tear down and look at the internals. We're not gonna be all the way to the system board, but we're gonna look at some interesting features that this 13-year-old laptop actually still possesses. This model is interesting because it does not use a single drive setup. It actually has two storage devices plus a third component that confuses a lot of people when they open it for the first time. So let's pop the cover and break it down and clear up some of the common misconception regarding this laptop. Okay, so first off, this is a pretty unique laptop in terms of how you get in the back, right? A lot of laptop will have little windows. You remove some captive screws and then you're in. But this one, you don't need to. See these slots here? You can basically put your finger in here and pull it back, lift the front, and just like that you're in. Well, you may say, okay, if it's so easy to get in, then it's going to be easy to fall off. But actually no, because you really need to do a pull back and a lift. And it's not very often in the, just operating it or moving it around that you're going to get that, dedicated action to get it off. So, I think, and these are business machine, you use them, you take them, put them in your laptop, you're not really banging them all over the place. But anyway, we have access to most of the internals. So first thing first, you want to remove your battery. So in order to remove the battery, you're going to slide these clips and you're going to pop this back out. Battery looks like it's even more difficult than the, but it's easy. Anyway, we're in just like that. And this is where the real fun starts. Okay. So first off, if we look at it, let me get a non-metallic pointer because I don't want to zap anything on this. This is like a museum piece right here. And it still works. Except for this one, there are some issues going on with the fan. And then it overheats and shut down. Okay. Anyway, so right off we're looking at the memory module here. So right here we have, these are 4 gigs of RAM, right? And so this is, you think this is max out, but it's not max out. On these models you could go even up to 32. So you could get 16 and 16. So there's a lot of room for growth, right? And then if you slide on down here towards the front, you've got your wireless card all stacked up there. And the back up and towards the left, you have your CPU would be under here, and your heat pipes. That's your heat sink. Your heat pipes right out there. Dissipates over here. And you have like your docking port replicator connector over here. So lots of interesting stuff. Okay, and we haven't even begun to touch the surface yet. So HP really nailed the serviceability on this generation. You can, as you see, taking off the back cover, you actually have immediate access to memory storage and your wireless component, right? These are actually DDR3 memories. The system was often shipped with 8, which is what we have here, or could be 16 gigs, right? And they're still, most of these are still holding up fine today. All right, so now let's talk storage, because this is where people get confused. This system has a primary 256 gigabyte drive, And there's more to it. We're going to get in there and look at it. Remember, we're talking about 13 years ago. So that's not uncommon to have, maybe a 256 drive. And you say, maybe 256, why not 1 terabyte, 1 terabyte HDD. The main operating system for this would be, that's where your main operating system would be on that big drive. And again, that would be Windows. Now, let's get right in and see what's going on. So, we can negotiate and see that the drive should be here. So let's pop this up. It's got a nice flop, so most likely you can lift it up. Possibly your drive there. Bam. Wait, what's going on here? This thing flop open. It's got some electronics on it. And then this looks like a drive down here. And this thing is really thin. Almost like a card. So what do you think's going on? What do you think is going on here? Let me skip the chase here. What you're looking at here, this is actually an NFC card, right? So it's a near field technology. Enterprise in setup, a business would use this to track their machines, right? So this is not another drive. It's just built so they can read the drive, the whereabouts, who's got it, how many, just inventory control, right? So not another drive, but be careful. You don't want to, if you mess with electronics, which you most likely won't use this anymore. So for all intent and purpose, you could really actually just remove this thing. So he says, so yeah, this mystery board above the drive, it's an NFC module, right? Now that right there is what throws a lot of people off. It's optional NFC, near field communication. Yeah, it's, as I said, it's mainly used in the corporate environment, for a kind of tap to authenticate with your badges or your smart card. As you can see, it uses a kind of a spring-loaded contact pins, right? Sometimes there might be foam pads on it. So there's no data cable, as you can see. Alrighty, so next, let's step down to what looks to be the drive. So I'm gonna grab my Phillips screwdriver here. So you have one at the front, and these are actually spring-loaded. They're not coming right out. Take that one out. So that's nice. You won't lose them. Once I get that up, I can tip the front off a bit. See, can tip the front, and then or the back, whichever. And there's a little cable here, or you can grab and pull back. And just lift it up, pull it back, and it's out. Just like that, very how it. Flip it over and let's have a look at this. So let's see if it will. Okay, that's good. If you can see closely, it says SATA 6 gigabytes per second, and it says 256 gigabyte SSD, and as you can see, this looks original. 13 years ago, SSD. Can you imagine? This would have cost an arm and a leg, basically. You probably could get a 128, but 256. This was specced out. This was really specced out. And yes, Micron is a common drive that HP used to ship, and even the date code, it tells you this is from that time, and it's original. It's got the original marking there. The enclosure is all neatly around it. This was actually shipped with the machine at that time. So that would tell you this was not just a simple home user machine. To have an SSD back in those time, you would have to be spending some serious bling on this. So corporate environment, they really could do this. So that's really nice there. Yeah. So if you're, the main purpose for me getting into this machine is that I need to get access to data, and then later on we may see if we can replace the fan. But it looks like it's pretty intact. I was able to boot it up a few times and it heats up and then it shuts down. So primarily we want to get the data off on this, right? So nicely done there, HP, back in the days. Okay, so let's see what else we've got here. So we've got the usual suspect. You've got your DVD. Actually, this is actually a RW, right? And if I slide on over here, there's actually another very interesting piece here. See if it will focus for you. Probably not going to focus much. But anyway, this right here, it's not a memory card. It's not Wi-Fi. It actually says on it HDD2. And it's 24 gigabytes. So what's going on here? We've got an SSD 256 and a 24 gigabyte another drive over here. Let me tell you what's going on here. This is not a data drive. This was actually used to help caching. So just to speed things up, things that will run more frequently. That's solely the purpose of this. No data would be on that, right? So you could remove this and it still works. That's not, you could set this up to work outside of this. And if you remove this, you won't be pulling any data from that. This is where your data would be in, well, taking it out over here. This would be your data, right? So those are nice surprises there. It's really stuff you can still do with the machine. You could load Linux on it. You could, if you have Windows 7 and you still want to keep it offline, you could do that. But you know what? I have a couple videos I'm gonna make coming down about Zorin and Mint, and especially with what's going on with Windows 11 right now. Machines that's way younger than this 6-year-old cannot run Windows 11, and a lot of folks are looking to give their machine new life. So I'll be creating a few videos on how you can use them. Especially I'm very stoked about Zorin, that you can install that on your machine. A machine like this would be perfect for it. You could just see him basically plug and play and it recognize everything, right? So anyway, thank you for watching, and let me just recap quickly. So this system has three things that will confuse a lot of people. The 56 gigabyte main SSD, that's your actual data. And then there's a 24 gigabyte cache drive. That's strictly for performance. And finally, you have your NFC module that's sitting right above the drive. So once you understand that layout, working on these is actually very straightforward, right? So again, thanks for taking the time to watch. Please remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. Thank you, and have yourself a great day now.